KARE 11 News Saturday with Eric Olson and meteorologist Belinda Jensen.
Good morning. 485 acres, zoological gardens, the lovely Minnesota Zoo, more than 2,000 mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, dolphins too. The Minnesota Zoo. We are part of it. We're the newest exhibit here at the zoo. Welcome to KARE 11 News Saturday, here live on location at the Minnesota Zoo. We've got a wonderful show for you this morning. What a great place to be on a morning like this.
We waking up to some snow this morning, but we've completely escaped that. We're in the tropics. It's about 72 degrees. The relative humidity about 60%. It's very nice in here.
You look like you're going on a safari.
So do you.
You like this? This was actually from the fishing show last year, but it was too cold up there, so I wore a sweater.
Oh.
This is the premier wearing of this lovely
with
safari.
The fly.
Right, with the fly fishing. So,
right.
Oh, well, close enough. We are in the Gibbons area, and they have just come out within the last couple of minutes.
We woke them up this morning.
And we may be able to hear them because they do their duetting call in the morning. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful
loud.
And very loud.
There they are. That's the mama right there.
Just hanging around, you know.
2 babies. And of course the father. Little family of Gibbons behind us.
So this isn't really all that serious show today.
No. We're going to be playing around quite a bit with a lot of animals.
And there are 2,000 of them. And we're hopefully going to hear from as many of them this morning, talk to them, and hear what they have to say. They are a family here at the zoo, watching over each other. The animals here come from different parts of the planet, but they share a common connection with an always amazed audience. A year-round summer season where action abounds. Beautiful. Look at a pufferfish right there.
Yeah, there's amazing amounts of. I haven't been to the zoo since I was a little kid, and so I started coming out here about 2 weeks ago and checking out the area, and it is just amazing the things that they have added. Well, since I was a little kid, I came here when this was the new zoo. So when they said, well, we're going to do this live show from the Minnesota Zoo, I was like, oh, the new zoo? And they thought that was kind of funny.
So now it's the new zoo review.
Yes, the new zoo review.
You're back in it the second time. Later this hour, you saw a piece of that just a few moments ago, but later this hour we are going to take a full trip underwater here. Photographer Randy Klauck donned his scuba gear. There he is right there getting his tanks on, and he went underwater here at the Coral Reef exhibit to tape the fish being fed. So with a special camera, we will take you under the sea. There's his camera right there.
That's going to be great.
Also, we will talk with the zoo's diver while he's underwater, a chat with him from way down under.
And we're also going to head to the zoo lab. Our Carolyn Marinan is there, and she promises to touch the hissing cockroach. It's about this large. The zoo lab wasn't my favorite place when I went in there, though.
Really?
Because, well, there's a lot of snakes in there, and I have to say that I'm a little afraid of those.
But young people are fascinated.
Oh, it's a great place. You can touch everything, and Carolyn will be in there as well. Well, this morning we're honored to be joined by Julie Lee. And she's a zoologist, also the PR person here at the zoo, and you've been helping us for a month now trying to get all this ready.
We've really enjoyed it. You've
Thanks
had a chance to see all the areas of the zoo, I think, by now.
Oh, it's been wonderful. We really appreciate your help. You also brought some special guests with you this morning.
Well, I did. This is an African burrowing bullfrog, also known as a mouse-eating frog, so you can guess what it eats. It's carnivorous, and it does eat mice. It also actually eats anything that moves just about, but they're found in Africa. They spend about 10 months of the year burrowed down in the mud. And they belong to the group of animals called amphibians, which means they spend part of their life in the water and part of their life on the land.
Sure.
Is this in the zoo? This is in the zoo lab?
This is in zoo lab, right.
And you, by holding it, you've got a firm grip on it, but that doesn't affect the frog at all.
I'm holding real gently, but they are jumpers. In fact, they're very aggressive for frogs.
Right. Our photographer, Randy Klauck, said, if it jumps, I'm out of here. He's on the main camera, so you better hang on to that. What other special guest do you have here? Come on in. Just come on.
I'm going to take him.
You're going to take the frog?
I guess I am. Yep.
Whoa. Okay.
We also have an African hedgehog here. Pretty cool looking little animal.
She looks just like a towel to me.
Yeah, it looks just like a towel. But if we open it up here, you can see that one of the cutest faces in Zoo Lab, outside of the staff, of course, and the volunteers. But this is an African hedgehog found in the same area, basically Central and Southern Africa. But you can see that they're covered with just tons and tons of spines, and you can also see what this main sense organ is of this animal. He's using his nose to try to figure out what the heck is out here.
Where is going on? What's going on
Now,
here?
the big question we usually get when we show people hedgehogs is how the heck are they born? I mean, you can imagine giving birth to something like this. But the spines are just under the skin when the mom is giving birth, so the spines don't come out for a day or two after birth. So it's not a painful delivery.
Look how cute. And that's
Beautiful.
also in the zoo
Also
lab?
in the zoo lab, right.
That's great. Carolyn will be there later to
Right.
talk about those. And
Julie, before you run off, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Time magazine. Did the folks at home see the? This is the cover of Time this week, talking about the terrible problems. It says doomed with tigers around the world. 95% of the population of tigers worldwide is gone.
It's a pretty
decade
bleak.
about?
Well, it's a pretty bleak picture for tigers. That is one of the Minnesota Zoo tigers on the cover there, the cover photo, right? It's one of ours on exhibit.
wow.
But I think that story is an interesting story, and it's very accurate. It does paint a gloomy and doomy picture for tigers, but it doesn't tell the other half of the story, and that's what's being done to help preserve tigers. And the Minnesota Zoo is actually an international leader in tiger conservation, and we hope that other half of the story will also come out. We are coordinators of a global breeding program that actually helps conserve not only captive tigers but wild tigers as well.
Well, Julie,
so there is work being done.
Yeah, it was a terrible story to read, but fascinating.
Depressing but true.
Good to hear that the zoo is doing something about it, hopefully. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to our very special guest this morning. We'll get you out of the light. She'll be okay. All right. Still to come this hour, they may be teaching high school students here as early as next year. We'll talk about the zoo school concept coming up in just a little bit. Also, we will head underwater and watch the fish being fed. KARE 11 News Saturday live from the Minnesota Zoo. Continue.
Up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here.
That is carbon dioxide. There's 2 parts of oxygen and 1 of carbon.
Yeah, why don't you?
In Cincinnati, they call it Education. Third graders there attend classes at the Cincinnati Zoo where they study life sciences and environmental education. And that same concept may soon be put in place for some high school students here at the Minnesota Zoo. Just last month, the Rosemount Apple Valley Egan School Board approved moving ahead with its plans to build a zoo school built for 400 11th and 12th graders located right here on zoo property.
Any other words? Any other terms? Like I said, I like doing it this way because then it brings in concepts that you don't remember.
Egan High School the day before Jim Lynch's big biology test. These 10th graders will likely spend their remaining high school years studying animals from afar, using textbooks in classrooms like this one.
Okay, both of those things are in Chapter 11.
But the school district wants to change locations for future students by building an 11th and 12th grade school here at the zoo. A zoo school that would focus on animal and natural science studies, but also a school that would offer a variety of other subjects.
It's not just animal science. It involves producing videos and producing artwork, theater, productions, and sharing that story in debate. In all the areas the environment fits in so well, and science and the environment will be probably the ground foundation. But it is truly an excellent model for multidisciplinary education.
Zoo education specialist Steve Haig and Todd Carlson from the school district are trying now to come up with a final building plan that could be approved this year and would have students studying here as early as 1995. Longtime teachers like Todd Carlson say the concept of a lab school has merit.
Juniors and seniors in high school are students that are capable of taking a great deal of control in their own education. And I think that ability is one that they'll find intriguing, the idea of choice.
And not surprisingly, the young people we talked to when we were at the school said even though they won't be able to be part of the zoo school idea, they were very excited about the idea, thought it would help them study and be very interested and maybe start a career in biology, who knows. The next step, of course, is getting all sides to sign off on a final building plan for the zoo school. The city of Apple Valley proposed issuing bonds to build the school on zoo grounds. They would then lease the building to the school district. All right, coming up next this morning, it's a trip to the zoo lab for some hands-on experience with some of the animals. That's when we come right back.
Look at that snow falling on the dolphin tank out there. This is a live shot from the dolphin tank at the Minnesota Zoo and, of course, in Apple Valley. We've had snow most of the morning.
Was there one moving back there? Sure.
There we go.
A little bit back there.
I've heard that in the main portion of the winter they put a cover over that because then they, don't want to have the snow desalinate the water.
And they just took the dome off the roof, and of course now
it's going to snow. And there we have our noisemaker this morning.
No.
Yes.
Is that?
Oh, so loud. Amazingly loud.
Excited we're here. Hey.
We are.
We're back at the Minnesota Zoo this morning. Welcome back to KARE 11 News Saturday. I'm Eric Olson.
And I'm Belinda Jensen. We're, of course, in the tropics with the gibbons behind us.
But we're going to shoot over now to a place where you can interact, even talk with the animals.
Carolyn Marinan is in the Zoo Lab right now. Carolyn, what's going on there?
Well, there's one reason to get up this morning, and this is reason enough. It's the crazy bird out here we have here, the parrot. His name is Freddie. Good morning, Freddie. Can you say hello?
Hello.
Excellent. This is Joanna Watson, his trainer, one of 4 trainers here at the zoo. And Freddie is just a great talker, isn't he? What does he do? What does he say?
He says a number of different things. Can you tell her what kind of bird are you?
Pretty bird. Have any questions, Belinda or Eric, we should ask him?
No, actually, what he's called a yellow-naped Amazon parrot. And Amazon parrots like this are found in the tropical regions of Central America and South America. And he can say a bit about his color.
You're a very pretty bird. Now, what if hey, can you talk? Can you talk?
I can talk.
Oh, can you talk? I can talk. Can I fly? Ah, he's a funny guy. Well, thank you very much for letting us see him. There's much more inside. Should we go inside? Sure. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, here we go inside the zoo lab. We were actually outside the zoo lab. This is a world of fun. Things to touch, to feel. Great way to get your hands on things. And one of the people inside here is Pascal. And you have a lot of things we can touch. What can you do inside here when you get here?
Well, there's all kinds of things to do in Zoo Lab. We have different kinds of mammals, birds, reptiles, invertebrates, spiders, all kinds of things that people just don't get a chance to get their hands on very often.
Maybe don't want to?
Maybe they will.
Okay, should we dive into this?
Sure,
what is this?
Sure. This is one of our most popular exhibits. It's been here for quite a long time. This is what we call our touch tank. And what we keep in here are marine invertebrates from Northern California. And so you just got to dig your hands right in
roll
here.
the sleeves. Here we go.
And
wow.
This is a sea star, so commonly known as a starfish.
Wow.
And
neat.
They're just lots and lots of fun for people to get their hands in.
Okay, I have to ask this dumb question. Is this a living thing? Or
this is a living creature. It's actually an animal. It's a very simple animal. And us here in Minnesota don't get a chance to really get our hands on things like this very often.
Now,
sea creatures.
Is there any eyes here?
Eyes? No actual eyes. They do have some sensitive light spots on the legs so that they know which way is up, which way is down, so they can protect their underside. If I turn him over, you can see he's kind of got, this is actually his stomach, which he has pushed out of his mouth in order to eat.
Wow.
They will oftentimes
What do they
that.
eat?
A lot of times they will eat mollusks like clams and oysters and things like that.
Not people.
Not people.
Okay. Well, you go back in there, buddy. Now, the highlight, Belinda said that I promised to do this, and I guess a promise is a promise, right? Oh man, no, I'm not ready. What is this?
These are called Madagascar hissing cockroaches. This is also one of our more popular animals at the Zoo Lab. These are animals that come from the tropical island of Madagascar, which has been really devastated by deforestation. A lot of the animals found in Madagascar are found nowhere else in the world. And these are actually recyclers. They're very, very good animals to have around. There's actually no good or bad animals. It kind of depends on, what you're looking for. But they decompose rotting vegetation, and they kind of speed up the recycling process. So they're actually very important. They don't fly. They don't bite.
They're nice guys. What? Do they make a sound? You said they hiss?
They're hissing cockroaches. They can force air out of their, kind of these holes by their legs. It's more of a defense, and actually these are pretty tame little guys, and they probably are not too scared of us right now, and they're not going to do a lot of hissing.
Well, all right. A promise is a promise. Look, watch. Okay, I touched it. I touched it. That's enough. I mean, I'm pretty good with snakes, but these things.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? I'm hearing a real noisy devil back there.
That's our red-billed toucan, and this is something he does every morning and every evening. It's kind of a call. They would do this to other toucans to try to keep the flock together and to advertise their own territories. And for us, I think he just does it to keep us awake. So,
how many things are there in here? This must be a great place for kids, especially.
We have around 40 to 45 species of animals, and probably over 120 specimens in Zoo Lab, which we rotate throughout the day. Volunteers take them out, and it's quite a lot of fun.
It is fun. This is a great place to go, Belinda and Eric. I highly recommend it. Even the hissing cockroaches, okay, I'll touch them one more time. They're nice guys. It's just kind of early in the morning for a hissing cockroach. Oh,
Hey,
nice,
You're brave,
nice boy.
Carolyn, brave.
And
Okay.
Carolyn, there's no extra charge to go through the zoo.
No extra charge for this. This is free.
Charge. This is open from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and obviously hours change in the summer. And we always have volunteers, and we always have animals out, and always lots of kids and lots of fun.
A lot of adults too. You can spend a lot of time here. Great place. Thanks for your time. Back to you guys.
All right.
I'm gonna
Carolyn.
go dig around in here.
You bet.
Okay.
Thanks, Carolyn, very much. And welcome back to KARE 11 News Saturday. A little different location from our usual perch over near the Gibbons. We have moved a little bit here in the tropics to the Coral Reef exhibit. And you know, at the zoo the last 3 years they have had record-breaking attendance. Last year 1.2 million people came through the zoo, and this is one of the big reasons, they tell us, the Coral Reef exhibit. Alan McGuire is one of the lead divers here that feed the fish, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
Tell me, how does one get prepared to do this? Are you a scientist by trade, a diver? How did you come to do this?
Well, I took biology in college. I guess took biology. There's a lot of different courses you can take, but you have to have an interest in fish, ichthyology, if you want to call it that. It's also, you have to know a lot about systems and how you take care of the fish, what it takes to keep them alive.
Now, how many fish, different types are there, and where do they come from?
Well, there are approximately 125 species in here. That'd be different kinds of fishes. They come from the Indo-Pacific region of the world, a very large region of the world. Since the Earth is almost 70% water, a good share of it is, of course, water that contain these fish.
And they're so beautiful. Why don't you go ahead and put your gear on, because you're going to feed them. You feed them twice, once a day or twice a day?
We feed them actually twice a day. We do feed them once in the morning, the geldat, when we do the dive show. And in the afternoon, we also feed the sharks. And to keep the fish away from the sharks while we're feeding the sharks, we feed a krill to keep the fish away from the shark food.
Ah, good thinking. Well, go ahead and, Alan, go ahead and put your mask on. And we are going to go downstairs. You know, you can see down below, and we have a camera in the tank right now. And we're going to meet Alan, hopefully, down below, and we'll be able to ask you some more questions, okay? Nod, okay. Yes, okay, he's nodding. Alan's going to head down now, and we'll see you down below.
You there.
All right. All right, we've made our way down the stairs here at the fish tank at the Coral Reef exhibit. And Al McGuire, remember we met him just upstairs about 30 seconds ago. Alan McGuire, I think can you see him coming here? And of course, photojournalist Randy Clark is getting pictures under there as well. Randy, can you hear me? He can't talk to us, but I know he can hear us. Alan, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
This is exciting. We're making history here. It's like you're on the moon. It's like a different planet underwater, isn't it?
That's certainly right.
I've only done snorkeling. I have never scuba dived.
It's a little bit different experience.
I would say. Now, what are you holding in your hand there?
I have some of the diet that we feed the fishes.
And you're down here. Why don't you go through again why you're down here to keep the big guys like this out of the way, right?
This dive show has a couple of different aspects to it. One, of course, is the feeding, which is very important to the fishes. We like to spread the food around a little bit so that all the fishes get a chance to eat. As you will notice, the sharks don't take much interest in this food. Later on in the afternoon, we feed them up on the surface.
Now, there seems to be a lot of activity around you. Do they know you, and do they know what's happening?
They do get conditioned after this long a period of time to know that when I am coming into the pool with this bucket at this time of day, it's time to eat.
Why don't you talk a little bit before you start the feeding, Al, about how the fish are treated to make sure that they're taken proper care of.
Once we purchase these fishes from wholesalers, we take them through a quarantine program. Now, that quarantine program lasts approximately 5 weeks before they even come into this pool. We bring them in, check them over for diseases, give them some prophylactic medical treatments, make sure that they get on our diet. Our diets, of course, are totally foreign to what they're used to eating in the wild. And once they get used to that, we also, the tanks that they have the medication in is changed. The water from this tank is actually put into the tanks that they're in, so they're all totally prepared chemically to be introduced into this tank, and we do so after that time.
Well, there are some beautiful ones. Why don't you, what are your favorite species? Why don't you talk about them and explain them, describe them for us?
Species that's very popular and actually usually comes up right here is this pufferfish.
What is that? What kind is that?
Spiny pufferfish.
Spiny
It's one of those fishes that blows up. And kids are really enthusiastic about it. They always want me to make them blow up, which is not real good for the fish because they have to suck in air or water to do so, and it's very difficult to expel that air or water. So we don't do that, of course, for the public, but it's a very exciting fish. Some of these batfish also are very nice. We've had some here at the zoo for over 6 years now in another exhibit, and once this opened, we put it in here, a little larger exhibit, and they've done real well for us. This golden fish also seems to get a lot of publicity.
Now, which one? I'm sorry, which golden fish?
This one right here, two of them actually. They're called golden trevallies, or pilotfish, a little more well known as pilotfish. They're very fast-swimming fish, and oftentimes you see pictures of sharks or whales cruising through the water in the ocean. They'll have those pilotfish along with them.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and thank you for that description, and why don't you go ahead and open up the jar and tell us what you're doing. Oh, there goes the food.
Well, we're feeding a little bit of krill here today. The gel diet that we normally feed them is a green in color. Unfortunately, that wonderful green color tends to cloud the water quite a bit. So we'll feed them a little krill, which is what we feed them in the afternoon when we feed the sharks from the surface. Now, that has a twofold thing. It's a good dietary thing for the fishes, and also it gives the sharks an opportunity to not be harassed by the fishes because they're eating the krill and not harassing the sharks while we feed them their squid, mackerel, capelin, whatever we get them to eat, actually.
And I'm surprised, Al, that you mentioned that the sharks are for the most part staying away. The larger fish are staying away. Is that because they know they're going to be fed later?
That's part of it. Part of it is that this diet is just not big enough for them to even bother going after. We have 13 sharks in the display. A couple of the most obvious are the leopard sharks. They like their squid in the afternoon, and they don't really get too enthusiastic about the krill or the gel diet or anything else that we have here to feed them.
We have a little time left, Al. Tell us when folks can come down here and see you do this.
We do the dive show 7 days a week, every day at 10:30 a.m., approximately 10:30 to 11 a.m. every day. We're in here feeding the fishes, answering questions whenever people have them about the aquarium or the zoo.
Well, Alan, I know you took some time out to come in a little early for us this morning and do this special. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, Alan McGuire from the Minnesota Zoo, diver extraordinaire. And look, the fish are already ignoring him because the food's gone and he's out of here. And Randy Clark, our photojournalist, thank you so much also for being underwater. Bloop, bloop, bloop. He says you're welcome. KARE 11 News Saturday, live from the Minnesota Zoo. We'll be back right after this short break.
Back to KARE 11 News Saturday, live at the Minnesota Zoo. We're starting out in the tropics, but we're going to give you a big climate change. I've come outside here. You're looking at a live shot of our snow monkeys out here. They're the northernmost species of monkeys, and we have a whole bunch of them here at the Minnesota Zoo. And if you're wondering how these animals and all the animals here at the Minnesota Zoo deal and adapt with the weather, of course, we have the very humid summers and we've had such a harsh winter. I was wondering that as well. So Julie Lee and I went on the Minnesota Trail and the Northern Trail, and we found some animals that adapt with the climate. You know, one thing, Julie, that really amazed me was obviously you have some aeration here so the water doesn't freeze over, but you have some ice here, and the swans are fine, and all of the birds actually are fine in the cold water and the ice. How do they deal with that?
Well, a lot of people have the misinformed idea that birds fly south in the wintertime to escape the cold, and actually the reason they fly south is usually to find food. So as long as birds can find food, they're okay. They do have a unique system in their feet that enables them to handle the cold weather or the cold water in the wintertime. It's called a rete mirabilis system, and their veins and their arteries in their legs and feet are spaced really close together, and it's an efficient way of warming up their blood. The warm blood that's coming from the heart and going through the arteries actually warms the blood that's in the veins coming back from the extremities, from the tips of their toes. And so it's a real efficient way to help prevent heat loss.
Now these Arctic fox, Julie, what do they do to adapt with the seasons here in Minnesota?
They have some physical changes and some behavioral changes. They have real thick fur that you can see, real dense fur that keeps them so warm that they don't even start shivering until it gets to 94 below zero, if you can imagine. You can see the way the little one has his nose tucked in. Some of the behavioral things they would do would be to seek shelter, or also to eliminate most of their exposed parts, like cover up his nose with his tail like he's doing there now.
One thing that Minnesotans might find kind of strange as they walk along the Northern Trail is that there's camels here. Now, what's the deal? What are they doing here in Minnesota?
Right, you expect to see camels in really hot areas, and the one-humped or dromedary camels are from warmer climates. But the Bactrian camels, the ones we have at the Minnesota Zoo, are the two-humped camels, and they're adapted to life in really, really cold areas. They're from Mongolia, so they're used to cold weather, and they do well in extremes, either hot or cold, they can handle.
One thing that might surprise people here are these tigers. You have 5 of them in this exhibit.
Yeah, they do. You can see that one laying down there now. He couldn't care less about the weather. But Siberian tigers do come from a cold climate. You think of tigers and lions and things like that as being jungle or hot weather animals, but these guys, their natural habitat is an area that gets real cold. So they're well adapted for it. They've got reasonably small ears and really thick, heavy fur, and they do just fine, either in winter or in warm weather.
Well, thanks, Julie, for bringing us on this tour. Lots of interesting things on the Northern Trail.
We do. We have a lot. Thanks. It was fun.
So Minnesotans, if they adapt for the weather, can actually come out here 364 days out of the year and find all sorts of surprises. The only day that the Northern Trail isn't open is Christmas Day. It almost looks like Christmas out here. The snow monkeys are adapting very well to the falling snow. I even think they might even like it. They're all out this morning. And if you wanted to go on the Northern Trail today, you would have to adapt by wearing a coat, a winter coat, to beat that at the end of March. We have quite a snowstorm here. And our next segment, Eric's going to head up and go on the monorail and check out what you can see from that. That might not be a bad idea today. Get into the monorail and check out the Northern Trail. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, our chariot awaits. Right, Mary? Mary Bonobo from the zoo joins us. We're going to take a ride on the train.
Yes, this is going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of people go through this every year. I mean, tens and tens of thousands, I would imagine.
More than that. 330,000 people a year ride our train, of which 26,000 are school children.
Goodness. Whole thing takes about a half hour?
About a half an hour.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Oh, this is a wonderful view. We should point out that normally the doors aren't open, but you've kind of made a special arrangement for us, but we really appreciate that. We get a little better view.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd like to point out what we're seeing right now. We have the children's zoo over here, and this is where we feature domesticated animals. Perhaps not animals that you would normally consider domesticated, but they are in their part of the country, such as Sicilian donkeys, pot-bellied pigs, and llamas. In our big corral, let's see, right now we have a llama in the corral.
Now, where's that? Oh, that's over a little farther to the left there. That's a llama?
We have 4 llamas down there right now. They are domesticated animals. They come from South America. They are used as pack animals, and their fur is a wonderful fiber that can be made into clothing. This is the Northern Trail. It's the northern hemisphere of the world. The animals we'll be seeing on the Northern Trail are out here all year long. This is their environment. They're used to this. There's something even colder than we have in Minnesota. You have to pretend when you're on the train that you're taking a trip around the northern part of the world. We do go through various biogeographic regions, and we're in the mountainous region of China right now. We're looking for the takin, very special animal revered in China, along with the golden monkey and the giant panda. But now finding the takin is something else because it has marvelous camouflage. Right now it's by the back fence. Now it has what we call disruptive coloration because it's actually 2 different colors, and its patterning in the forest would be that of fragments, not of an entire animal. And what that means is protected from predators.
All right, now, Mary, I see some activity there in the woods.
We have the eastern timber wolves. This represents the northern part of Minnesota. We have 5 wolves in our pack, and I can see them behind the frozen pond. You go right to the center and up the hill, I can see several of them.
So that was a quick trip from China to northern Minnesota in just 10 minutes.
Yes, indeed. I told you had to use your imagination. Yes. The taiga, which is the coniferous forest, such as found in northern Minnesota. And here we have our herd of woodland caribou. Now, there's something unique about caribou. It's the one species of the deer family where both males and females are antlered. And we do have two subspecies of caribou at the zoo. Ones we're looking at right now are the woodland caribou. It's an animal we used to have in Minnesota.
Really?
Yes, we did. We had them in the northern part of our state, but the last ones were seen here about 1940 around the Red Lake region, eliminated by habitat destruction and hunting.
We've wound our way around. Are we still in Minnesota here with what I see?
Yes, we are. We're approaching the moose. We have about 8,000 moose in Minnesota right now. They're found in the northern part of the state. Every now and then, though, some are found a little further south.
The largest of the deer family?
Yes, it is. It is the largest of the deer family. A Minnesota bull moose could weigh 1,200 pounds.
Okay, now this I do not think is in Minnesota. We are not in Minnesota anymore on our tour, are we?
No, we are not. We're in the mixed forest of southeastern Russia, northeast China, or North Korea. We are in the home of the Siberian tiger, the largest of the big cats. Male tiger typically weighs between 300 and 400 pounds, and some can reach 600 pounds.
All right, we've wound our way back around to the entrance here on the monorail. Wonderful trip, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. I hope you come again. The train is fun. We love having you.
And you stumped me again. I thought I knew everything. You know, us reporters know everything, but you managed to teach me all kinds of things. Really enjoyed it.
Every time I come to the zoo, I learn something, so I hope you do too.
All right, Mary Bonobo from the zoo. Lots more to come on our Saturday morning show live from the Minnesota Zoo when we come right back.
Adopted. What are you looking for under the sea?
Rain or snow or anything else, they feed the dolphins.
Hey, there they go. In and out, beautiful pictures. We're going to go out there in just a few seconds, as a matter of fact, and they get a little reward there. Welcome back to the Minnesota Zoo, everyone. KARE 11 News Saturday on the road this morning. As we mentioned, about 21,
yeah.
1 past 8 o'clock this morning.
Snowing.
Mm-hmm. But we're not getting wet at all.
No.
It's very comfortable here. A little humid.
We're in the tropics.
But we are in the tropics, so that's what it's supposed to be.
That's right. The zoo isn't a place that you can just come during the day. One night a month, they actually let people sleep here. Mainly kids sleep here, and this month it was sleeping with the dolphins.
That's right. There is an entire group of children who spent the night here with the dolphins, and it's just one of the zoo's many sleepovers. And we're going to go over right now to Carolyn Marinan with more on this. Carolyn?
Hi.
Hi.
This is the best time ever, Eric and Belinda. I am not the trainer, obviously, but this is Tracy. She is the trainer of the dolphins. And maybe you can see behind me the Girl Scout troop from Baldwin. Hi, you guys. They're the ones that slept overnight. They're going to watch the feeding here. So, Tracy, tell me what you're going to do here. You're going to blow a whistle, first of all.
Well, that's one of the ways we tell the dolphins they're doing a good job. Anytime we blow the whistle, it lets them know that they're doing a good job, and they come on back for a reward. And we reward the dolphins with praise and rub downs, and of course fish if you'd like to give them one.
Oh, I'd love to give them one. This is better than the cockroaches. Okay. Was that good? Was that good? No, what's their names?
This is Rio, and this is Mindy. They've been here at the zoo since it opened.
Famous.
Been here for a long time. Flipper and Simo came to us on a breeding loan, and they're going to stay at the Minnesota Zoo from here on out. And of course, when the two of them, or the four of them got together, we ended up with our two baby dolphins right over here. They're going to be 2 years old this summer,
now,
both of them.
I know these guys are hungry, but can they do a couple of little routines for us, you think?
We'll kind of exercise them, and they'll do behaviors that you normally see dolphins do, and then we'll extend some of them for a little bit of fun. So why don't we get them up in the air? Okay. One.
Neat. Woo! That's great. You guys like that? Yeah. Neat. Oh my gosh.
One more time.
That's That's a lot of hard work. Do they get a fish for that?
Well, sometimes they don't do it just for fish. They do it for the attention. It's part of the training, you know. So what we're going to do right now is get them up in the air a few more times for you. Jenny, you want to show off some flips with the boys? And while we're waiting for that, reel's going to spin right in the center of the pool.
Well, I'll just talk to you guys really quickly, Belinda and Eric, that the girls behind me, while they're doing all these tricks, go ahead, blow your whistle. They came from Baldwin, Wisconsin. They are a Girl Scout troop, and it's a really great thing you can do here. You can sleep overnight with the dolphins, you get their food ready, and then in the morning you get to watch the trainers do their magic tricks for the dolphins. You get to feed them, and it's a neat experience. So, I mean, the zoo offers this. So I take advantage of it. Wouldn't you guys? Hey, come down here while they're doing these tricks. One of you guys, come here. Who wants to come down? Come here. I want to talk to you guys. What about this? Is this neat?
Yeah, I think it is.
What's your name?
Nicole Terpstra.
So tell me what you did last night and tell me about this morning. How's it going?
Well, it's going really fun. Around 11 o'clock we were designing some shirts, and it was really fun. And we're trying to help to get a new facility for the dolphins too.
So you came here to do that, and you woke up this morning, and now is this a fun time?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So,
there they go
oh
again.
wow, look at that. How hard is it to train these guys? They're very smart, I know that.
They are real intelligence. It's just like training any intelligent animal, like a dog or anything else, that when you reward them for doing something you like, they tend to do it again. And if they do something you don't like, you just ignore them. And they respond really well to that.
Just like Flipper. Great texture. Amazing,
What does it
amazing.
feel like? A lot of people never get
A beach ball. A beach ball.
Yeah, very rubbery and wet. That's exactly right. And that's what helps them slide through the water, nice and slick. Very streamlined for moving through the water. So I think what we'll do is do just that and get them moving real quick. We're going to have our two male dolphins show off some of the speed and power of the dolphins on what we call a fast swim. So we're going to get them going through the water. We're going to get a real, our own little ocean going here.
This is great. What a great backdrop. It's kind of snowing, kind of nice out here, but they love the water.
Yeah. Dolphins in Minnesota. Only here can this happen, right?
Exactly. Hey, is it easy for anyone to come by and participate in this program, staying overnight for anyone that's watching?
You bet. It's the Dolphins Dark to Dawn, and it's 2 Fridays a month, all year round. We have scout groups, families, zoo members, anybody over the age of 5 can come on out and spend the night here at the zoo.
Great. I just might do that. I don't know. It's a great time. We're going to stay on this deck, though, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going. We're just doing a little
I want to ride one of them. Belinda, Eric, great program. This is so much fun. I got to tell you, you would enjoy it immensely if you did this, stayed overnight. Just to touch one of these guys is great. So we'll throw it back to you. We'll maybe show you a few shots before you leave. Some magic. Wow. Does that hurt?
A real fancy one. No, they're used to doing this. They're built to move this way in the water. There they go. That's SEMO.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. You are talented. They are talented. We thank you very much for all. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Can I shake them? Thanks. Goodbye.
You want to shake her hand?
I want to shake his hand.
Straight out, just like me.
Like this.
Straight out the wall.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. We all thank you at KARE 11. See you guys. Thanks, Carolyn.
That was great. I don't know how much sleep those young people probably got.
No, well,
last night.
they slept in this tunnel where the dolphins actually swim over them and under them. It's really neat.
And it's
really neat.
coming in this morning, none of the lights were on. We were here very early this morning, as was the crew. And when you walk in, the lights are off, the waterfalls are falling, you can hear the animals.
And they were all waking up.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah, and we just had some great news, very exciting. Out on the Northern Trail in my last package, I showed you the camels. Well, a couple of them were pregnant, and just a couple of minutes ago, a baby Bactrian camel was born. So I think they should name it. No. No, it was just born. It won't be on exhibit for a little while. Of course, they have to check it out, but just live, it was born. Wow.
We're making news here this morning. Amazing, a news show doing that.
KARE 11 News Saturday continues.
The Otters are taking off. They're welcome back to KARE 11 News Saturday. We are live from the Minnesota Zoo this morning. I'm Eric Olson. As we just saw in the previous segment, the dolphins are one of, if not the most popular attractions here at the zoo. But that's a problem as well as a blessing for zoo officials. There just isn't enough room for the hundreds of zoo visitors who gather during the warmer months to watch the half-hour dolphin shows. As KARE 11's Dennis Stauffer reports, the zoo is now asking the state to help expand.
Help build a home for the dolphins is the first sign you see when you enter the Minnesota Zoo. The coins dropping from small hands are not nearly enough to do that, but you sense that these young fans would if they could.
These are my favorite. I like them when they jump up.
These fascinating sea mammals are the zoo's most popular exhibit, but that's also part of the problem. There isn't nearly enough room for spectators.
Very crowded, and it's a very popular spot for people to come, and when there's limited seating, it's disappointing to a lot of our visitors.
The zoo is seeking $20 million in bonding authority from the state to create a new world-class marine education center. In many respects, it will be modeled after the existing coral reef exhibit, more so than the existing dolphin tank. And like the reef, it will be geared as much toward education as toward entertainment.
Another type of shark we have is the leopard shark. We have two of them.
The proposal includes a two-story kelp bed habitat and a shark exhibit with much larger species than those found here.
Like the coral reef exhibit, the new Marine Education Center will be enclosed. So not only will there be dramatically more space for exhibits and spectators, but the educational programs will be able to continue right through Minnesota winters.
Senator Steve Morse is one of the lawmakers pushing the zoo's request.
And it's just a great educational opportunity for those of us that are kind of landlocked here in the middle of the continent to make us understand that even though we're not right on a saltwater sea, those issues are real important to us.
Zoo officials say that almost everything we know about dolphins has been learned in protected environments. It's information that helps us save them and their wild habitat, information the experts say needs to be shared.
That's our job here at the zoo, is to tell them the truth about these animals, that they are incredible, that they're social, but they're not people inside of dolphin suits.
Those truths are certainly important to zoo goers and to the survival of some magnificent species. But it is those human-like qualities that draw a crowd.
They're funny. And they kind of talk.
Dennis Stauffer, KARE 11 News.
KARE 11 News Saturday, we're live at the zoo. That's a live shot of the snow monkeys outside. I'm lucky enough to be inside. Now, if you're wondering how this 1 acre size building can actually have an ecosystem where the temperature stays 72 degrees at all times, the relative humidity stays at about 60%, and we have about 500 species of genera in here when it comes to plants. It's amazing how the Minnesota Zoo does this, and just last week I checked out how this works and how the building stays the way it is. Would you believe right here in Minnesota there's a place 365 days out of the year that it's constantly 72 degrees and just a little humid like a tropical island? It's right in your backyard. You don't even have to get on a plane. It's called the Tropics. That's at the Minnesota Zoo. Let's check it out. How can this be accomplished in a state where the average annual temperature is only 49 degrees with a good share of cloudy days?
Just in the last year, 3M worked with us on a new lighting system, and you can see the panels, they deflect more light down, so it simulates an actual summer day in Minnesota.
Now, what about all the rain and the humidity that tropics need? At the Minnesota Zoo, they just make it.
And the tropics are much more humid with much more rainfall than we have here in Minnesota, so it's a more realistic representation of the tropics. You can hear the thunder. I wish we had thunder.
It rains every day in the tropics,
yeah, it does.
Obviously.
At 11, 1, and 3.
11, 1, and 3. And the tropics usually have something like 80 inches of rain every year.
A lot more than we have in Minnesota. And so it's one of the ways that we can help control the humidity here in the building. It's about 1 acre, this building, in size. And so you can imagine we have to add a lot of moisture in order to keep the humidity level up to be appropriate for the animals and the plants that we display.
One thing you can't miss while walking around the tropics is the beautiful flora and fauna, especially the orchids.
This pink one right here is a plant rescue station plant. Someone tried to bring that into the country and it was confiscated at an airport. Any orchid to bring in without documentation is illegal.
So even though we consider this a rescue station and downright paradise, it's just home, where the leopard stands watch, the gibbons play, the flamingos gather, and the sun bear sleeps on. Well, in our next segment, we're going to take a look at what a day in the life of a zoo vet would be all about, what the animals say to the vet and whatnot. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
What it would mean if I could talk to the animals. Just imagine it, chatting to a chimp in chimpanzee. Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting to a cheetah. What a neat achievement that would be. If we could talk to the animals.
Just think if you could talk to the animals, it'd be amazing. Well, they're listening to us this morning, making all kinds of noise around us. Welcome back to KARE 11 News Saturday, live from the Minnesota Zoo. About 9:15 right now. I'm Eric Olson. The wide array of animals here have some special people to take care of them. There are 2 full-time veterinarians here at the zoo. And photojournalist Lane Mickelson followed vet Chris Petrini around for a day in the life of a zoo vet.
What are you going for? 6106.
We're doing well animal exams. All these animals should be healthy. Come on, Moose. Once a year we like to get our hands on them, get a weight on them. We give them their vaccinations and we give them some vitamins.
She says, well, that was unacceptable.
This is the Moose HMO. So we're trying to keep them healthy.
Hey, you guys are really pretty strong. She's on.
304 kilograms. 670 pounds.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something new. Paula, heart rate's 40, steady. So many of the animals are so unique. You know, it's just a thrill to be able to be a part of that.
Temperature, 101.4.
She's definitely got wear on the upper molars right there. Well, if she's gaining weight, that's the thing, and we can't do much about them if they are worn. Right. I don't feel any lumps or bumps on her jaw. IV and sub-Q are both in, and the yohimbine is going IM. Oh, now. She says, I'm not quite ready. Well, okay. And I guess I will get up. So, the herd pen is moving. How are our other patients doing, Kathy?
Frog.
It's not uncommon for me to say, I've never done this before. And this is indeed going to be one of these situations where I can say, I've never taken a tumor off a frog before. I know. It is a drag. This is a very healthy looking frog, by the way. Now we're going to work on a hedgehog that has some skin problems, and this little guy's been one that's had problems in the past, and kind of a recheck exam, but he's starting to get scaly again in between his spines. So we'll look at him, and when we're done with that, then we're going to do some ultrasound on goats to check for pregnancy. Some of the little mites will burrow down right underneath the skin, and you have to get kind of deep to get them. These guys cute. Aren't they great? I can see why people like her. You know, you would like to be able to have all the answers before you start, but it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you just have to take what knowledge that you have and apply it to the species that you're working on. And fortunately, most of the time, that works pretty well.
Thank you.
Sure, good to see you all. Thanks, you guys, for bringing them down. But I will say that this job is never boring. It can be frustrating, but never boring.
Welcome back to KARE 11 News Saturday, live from the Minnesota Zoo all this morning. Our little broadcast center here near the Gibbons this morning. Had a wonderful time. Hope you have too. Still about 15 minutes to go in this hour. Ever since the Minnesota Zoo opened its doors, management here has always kept one very important fact in mind, that the people inside the zoo are just as important as the animals. and that's why volunteers here have always been a top priority. There are about 700 volunteers on staff here. One of them is a regular fixture here who has donated thousands of hours of her time and a love of animals that extends well beyond these walls. During the week, she works with paper and printers. At this scientific publishing company in Eagan, Sue Schabschlager cuts copy, rolls words. But on the walls of her workstation, it is obvious. Sue's pastime is her passion.
Each one is fascinating in its own way, sure. I don't know that I really even have a favorite animal or anything. I'm partial to birds, but he sticks close to mom.
At work or at home, her friends are never far away. Among them, 13-year-old Mr. Chips, a lilac-crowned Amazon parrot. And, in this corner, the cockatiel, Phoenix.
He likes everybody. Somebody comes into the room, he'll, come up to the edge of the cage and put his head down, and that's your cue to start scratching. And it works. He's got everybody trained beautifully.
6 years ago, Sue began her volunteer work with birds at the zoo. Last year alone, she logged over 600 hours. And Sue says the longer she volunteers, the more reasons she finds to keep doing it.
Being around the animals, learning a lot from the staff, just a wealth of information from a lot of people who work with these animals all the time. And the other volunteers are a lot of fun too. We just have a good time. We're learning and hopefully helping out too.
One of the many great volunteers here at the zoo right there, Sherry White-Cummers, volunteer coordinator. Are most of the people that involved? They spend hundreds and hundreds of hours out here.
They sure do. As a matter of fact, last year volunteers donated almost 94,000 hours to the zoo. So volunteers are incredibly important to the zoo. There are programs that simply would cease to exist without their support.
I was going to say, it would seem to me hard to even keep this place up and running.
Absolutely.
Do they have to have special backgrounds, a college degree, or special training in some area for you to be interested in them?
Well, the training, we provide the training that they need to have. In terms of a college degree, really the most important thing they can bring to us is a love of animals and an ability to work with people and to enjoy working with people, because that's the majority of their day as they're out with our visitors.
Mm-hmm. Now they come and sign up. Can they pick what they want as far as what they would like to work with? Say they like the fish or they like the gibbons. Can they prioritize where they'd like to work?
We talk about what their special interests are, but we do train them in a general sense so that they have an idea of what goes on throughout the entire zoo. Because even if they're at the coral reef exhibit, for instance, somebody might ask them a question about a tiger or a musk ox, and that way they have some background in general.
Mm-hmm. How did you get involved in this? You have been here since the beginning of the zoo.
Right, May of '78.
And how did you become involved here with the volunteer program?
I actually started out working here in the education department at the zoo, and when the director job for the volunteer program opened up, I applied for it and moved into that position, and it's a hard place to leave.
I was going to say, a lot of people may think, I would love to work at the zoo. It looks like so much fun. Yeah. Even working here day after day after day, there must be days you don't like it, but is it still pretty much enjoyable all the time?
Well,
and your boss is standing right over here.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Well, when you have a bad day and you can go out and walk through this building here and watch the animals for a while, it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. And right now you have 700.
Right, almost 700
volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem to me that there isn't really a shortage. We can't put out the call and say you need help, but do you need specialized help? What kind of people are you looking for?
Well, we never say that we have a shortage of volunteers. There are always other areas where we can use volunteer help. Now, we do have a training program for our adults that runs twice a year in the spring and in the fall. And the spring class right now is in progress. We'll be holding another session in the fall. But we always keep a mailing list of folks who are interested, and as we run sessions, then we'll contact them. So if anyone's interested, feel free to send us give us a call.
And also, what about hours? If obviously people have other jobs and that kind of thing, can they name their hours?
Sure. We talk about availability and days and hours that people would like to work.
Mm-hmm. It's a great time. And Sue Schabschlager, one of them right there, has been with you a long time too.
She sure has. A lot of our volunteers, we have some folks who have put in more than 10,000 hours just as an individual to the zoo. So
that's wonderful.
Yes.
Let's put the number on the screen for folks watching. If you are interested in volunteering at the Minnesota Zoo, there's a number to call, 431-9202. Sherry, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep, all right. Lots more to come on our special show from the Minnesota Zoo when we come right back.
looks like the snow has let up a little bit. That's a live shot from, of course, the Dolphin tank. Oh, no, it is snowing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a
Let
little
up
bit.
a little bit, though.
Yes. And there, of course, are the gibbons, which have been our backdrop. Look at them. I've been watching them while you were doing your interview, and they're just very playful. That's their mom, and those are two babies.
They had been very well behaved until now. They're starting to get a little rambunctious out there.
On the other side of the tropics, just on the other side of where we are right now, we have a very important new member of the tropics that was born actually on January 6th of this year. And there she is. She is a critically endangered Amur leopard. She's one of the only females born in captivity within a long time. And the Minnesota Zoo is one of only 3 zoos in the country that have these leopards.